This podcast is meant to inform, entertain, and occasionally stir the pot in a good way. The opinions expressed are our own, shaped by personal experience and thoughtful research. They may not reflect everyone's views, and we may even offend you. We're just a couple of humans doing our best to advocate, educate, and elevate, one episode at a time. Yours truly, The Bark. P.S. Please don't sue us.
We are back. Hi.
We're back.
Hey, Candy.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. You know what? You don't give me... I'm not satisfied with your answers when I ask you that. I'm looking for more.
I think my friends do the same thing, but I talk to them about dogs so much that it's like I don't elaborate on my day because it's like full of dogs, and I'm sure I come off as this like insane dog person.
Well, you
but
are.
yes,
No, I'm just
I
joking.
am in
I
a
don't
good
think
way.
you are. There are other layers to you.
Yes,
but no. Well, I'm like I don't want to call it. I guess I'm kind of opposite where. One, I won't ask you how you are unless I truly care. But even like if I'm getting coffee,
yes,
and they ask me how I am, I like pause and then I give them a real answer.
There's a coworker that used to say, "Hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit." And I was,
Ew, where are they ordering their biscuits?
Yes. And I was like, I need to stop asking people how they're doing because I did not like that answer.
That's adorable. Yeah. Also sad.
It was fun. I mean, it broke up the morning. For somebody who doesn't typically drink coffee, I was definitely awake after that.
Oh, cute. Well, I'm glad you're doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
Yourself?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. I was excited because I started listening to some football talk to get in the spirit. You're so cute that you're pretending to be excited.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started listening to some sports radio again this morning, and it reminded me about one of our recent conversations.
Yes.
About beloved Tom Brady. So just I want to fill everyone in, and we have since debunked this rumor.
Yes.
But like a week ago, well, not recently after the Texas floods, I saw this article that said, hero off the football field and he doesn't tell anyone about it and blah, blah, blah. And it was an article about Tom Brady rescuing this dog from like trees in the flood. Yeah. And I mean, the photo though looked God, freaking AI.
Yes.
We're all ruined.
Yeah.
And I read it and I sent it to Candy and I was like, oh my gosh, what a great talking point. Yay, sports, And so Candy decided to reframe the story because let me just give some context. Tom Brady, which is false now, but he took this dog and brought it home to his daughter who really wanted a dog.
Yes. So it's kind of I wasn't going to get any pushback from bringing the dog home because, of course, my daughter wanted a dog.
Yes,
anyway,
of course. So, but then I showed Candy the article, and she decided to spin it a little. And do you have that headline handy? I was very impressed with your
So, in rescue, dogs are found, and you don't just bring the dog into rescue. You have to make sure that the owners aren't looking for it and things like that. So, when I saw that, it gave me pause. When I saw the Tom Brady story, it gave me pauses. I'm like, so he just took the dog home. This is when we thought the article was true. I was like, so he just took the dog home. He didn't look for the owners. And I sent back Megan a little spinned tagline that said, in other news, Tom Brady takes advantage of a natural disaster to steal dogs while their families are fighting to survive. That is also not true. But I just had to
Did you make that up yourself or is that AI?
I know, that's me.
That is...
I don't do everything.
Where are you hiding that skill? Yeah. Like that talent.
Clearly not on my shoulder or on my sleeve, right?
I mean, that was like beautifully crafted.
Yes. Sarcasm is my beauty pageant talent.
Yeah,
So if I were ever in a beauty pageant, which I'm not ever going to be in, that is what would cause me to win is my sarcasm.
And I don't know if it may fall on deaf ears.
Yes.
If
you're a natural at sarcasm.
Yeah.
People will just believe you.
If you're in a crowd full of like Seinfeld fans, you may be fine.
You're right. But the good news about all this is Tom Brady did not leave a dog behind to suffer in the floods. He didn't save a dog. He didn't steal anybody's dogs. But there was another part of the story that there was I'm reading from online that said a real hero did emerge, a dog named Superman. He was found sitting patiently atop the wreckage of his home, waiting for his family after surviving the floods in Kerr County, Texas. His owner tragically died saving him. And now Superman is in foster care while his surviving family tries to rebuild their lives. This is an
Tom
area,
Brady's house.
Right. This is an area of our country right now that needs some support.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for a rescue to volunteer with, if you're local, or to help the shelters and the rescues down there.
And they're going to be we say that, and we, depending on when you're listening to this episode,
right.
I mean, they'll probably still be recovering from it, people. So if you hear this and it's like a month later, the catastrophe is not over. They're still picking up the pieces, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. Pick up the phone if you were fortunate enough to be in that area and have little to no impact. Pick up the phone, especially, people think, they tend to forget about the animals. So your shelters and your rescues down there could really use your help.
Tennessee was taking some dogs. I saw that.
Yep. The families could, if you are willing to bring a dog or two into your home temporarily, those families who are rebuilding could use your help to have their pups on your couch for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So, well,
what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about? So this is the bark. I'm not gonna,
fancy it up.
I'm not gonna fancy it up. We are listener supported, I will say. So, I mean, what we talk about, if you have an interest in all the stuff we talk about, or in animals or not in animals, or you just like me, or you just like Candy, or you like both of us.
Yeah.
Like,
well, let me just
you
say,
just have a lot of extra money you want to give
throw
someone.
at us. Yeah. But, by listening to this and sharing what we're sharing, educating yourself, educating those around you, if you see a particular topic that we speak about that could help those around you, please share that episode with them. Last time we talked about breeding. So if you know somebody who's trying to breed on their own and not very knowledgeable, send that episode to them. Encourage them to sign up, follow. Email us your experiences.
Yeah.
We'd love to start reading some of your stories on here and maybe giving some feedback.
Well, and that's a great point, Candy. Even because I think what we decide to talk about, it's just kicking off the show, there's so much.
Right.
But I think we also want to be mindful of listening to what people want to hear.
Absolutely.
Right. So these are things that we hear other people talking about, and we're like, man, we should have an episode about it. But like, if you're listening and you're like, man, I really wish they would talk about this,
send it to us.
Let us know.
Yeah.
And our email address is, oh, wow, I forgot for a second. The bark at lawssavingpaws.org, or you can find us on social media. I mean, just Google us.
Yeah.
And you'll find us.
We're here. And but by listening and also hopefully if you donate, this is advocacy that you are participating in by listening, sharing, supporting. This is advocacy that you are participating in, and we thank you for that.
Yes.
So
thank you so much. And I will say thank you. So Julie, I think we had a really generous donation from Julie R.
Awesome.
So thank you, Julie, wherever you are. I think she was in Murfreesboro, actually.
Oh, good.
I'm not going to
Yay.
pretend I don't know where you are.
Julie
so
R.
thank you. Thank you for that. So okay, today we are going behind the no-kill curtain. Because, oh, good Lord in heaven. I cringe a little this is just me. I cringe a little every time I see someone celebrate their no-kill status. And it's not because I think that the no-kill movement is a horrible thing. It's not, the stuff that has happened, like I said, behind the curtain of it that people don't know about, like what's happening with the dogs that aren't being taken into shelters. Just it scares me that we're celebrating so much this designation, and then kind of forgetting to look at maybe what the consequences might be to that. So Candy, what do you know about the no-kill movement? Let's talk about this. Don't Google it, because I feel like that's what you're about to do.
So the other day I did do a little bit more research because, being in rescue, you want this no-kill dream to be true. And I do think that some communities, some shelters are doing it correctly.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
and what do you mean? So how do you define correctly?
So people just think no kill is okay. If they're able to, the calculation for no kill is technically, as long as you only euthanize 10% or less of the animals that come into the shelter, you can therefore be considered no kill.
Yep.
But there's complications to that formula. Okay. So again, there's a label slapped onto that shelter and everybody feels warm and fuzzy.
Let's donate. Let's drive the donations to that shelter. And the thing is, the ones without that designation, I think, get shunned a little.
Right.
You know?
And they're not supported as much and so on and so forth. There's a break in the formula. There's a break in how this works. So what do you want me to go into the detail of?
Okay, maybe let's wait a little. But that's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's what you know about no kill. And I feel like I don't think people understand that it's a formula. Yeah. They are so numbers driven. That designation is so numbers driven from what I've learned just through my research and talking to people. But so I guess I've educated myself a little about this, but the no kill was not owned and created by Best Friends Society. Right. They did not invent it. The no kill strategy started, I think, back in the 50s or over 50 years ago, at least. And it is when independent caregivers started rescuing homeless animals with the intention of keeping them alive. So they weren't like an organization or anything. This was just something they organically did. And in the 90s, it was really successful because it was paired with spay and neuter efforts. It was realistic to have that rate, that save rate, because in conjunction with that, you were using spay and neuter education and initiatives to control. We had population control for the animals, which is why the movement caught so much traction, and it was right. So it was able to actually be like executed, I think, ethically and without all the backlash. So I guess someone had said if large numbers of unsterilized animals are roaming the streets, then one of the first priorities has to be a massive spay-neuter effort. And I feel like that has to be the first thing. So what's happening now is I feel like because of the perception of no kill and the benefits and fundraising and donor support, and no one likes the word euthanasia. So if you're a shelter that doesn't euthanize, you're glorified, right? And so people are so focused on that all of a sudden that became the priority. Like, well, screw spay and neuter. Look, we're saving all these animals. But it begs the question, what about all the animals there aren't? Like, what are you doing to your numbers, your intake numbers, to maintain that save rate? Right. Does that make sense?
Right. And that's the part that people are not aware of. We put that label on, this is organic or this is da-da-da-da-da, not realizing that, I try to eat healthy.
Except for the hair and the biscuits.
Yes, exactly. Right. Or Chick-fil-A, I'm going to point a finger at you for those side meals that I like to sneak every once in a while. Anyway, I try to eat healthy. And then there was this whole organic movement years ago. And then I don't want to go too much, but I'm just using this as an example that we slap things with the label of like organic or environmentally friendly or da-da-da-da-da. But when we get into those things, there could be sacrifices made elsewhere.
And it dilutes it. There's so much of it that like the quality of that label, I think, changes over time. But that's it. No, I think that's such a great way to put it into like digestible
And I
pieces.
think when people buy, for example, organic vegetables, fine. When you buy organic meat, let's say beef, that means that if that cow ever got an infection or an injury, it would not be given antibiotics to heal that infection or whatnot. So it would just kind of suffer through, or maybe there is a naturopathic remedy, maybe there's not, and they're just hoping the infection just heals up and they keep an eye on it. No things like that. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So there are, when you're giving up certain things, it's like we trust our brands.
Yeah.
And we think, oh, organic, of course it's healthier and it's better. And
there's a leaf on it.
There's a leaf. It's got to be peaceful.
That's like when I have a cucumber in my drink and I think it's healthy.
Oh gosh. Do you eat the cucumber?
Oh shoot. No.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start eating cucumber.
I tend to eat, like I tend to snack on, like if I'm given an orange with a cocktail, I'm like, ooh, an orange. And I eat it. And I'm the only dum-dum at the bar eating my like orange and cherry. And I'm like, it's
sprayed in
delicious.
pesticides.
Yeah, no. I'm sure it's probably had everybody's hands on it at the bar, but I'm like, it's delicious.
It's fine.
You know?
It's going to build your immune system. It's fine. No, but that's an excellent way of looking at it.
So when we buy organic, I'm not saying don't buy organic, but I'm saying when you're pledging your money towards something, look into it a little bit more and make sure that that is what you do stand for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So anyway, I just give that as an example. The it's called Haas movement, the no-kill movement. Sounds wonderful, but
and it was.
It intended to be. It does intend to be.
Yes.
But it's not realistic in every setting.
Yes.
And
if you don't achieve it, again, it's the perception.
Right.
Like, so if you don't achieve it, you're almost like the redheaded stepchild of the animal welfare world. And I want to back up a little bit, because I think part of the perception, we're going to start with euthanasia, right? It's a scary word. It's you know what I mean? That means you're killing an animal, or killing something. But, there was this story I came across, that, gosh, I thought was it was so sad to me, but there was a shelter in Sonoma County. Oh no, I'm lying. It was in Sheboygan. Where the heck is that?
Michigan?
Michigan. All right, great. It's somewhere no one talks about.
I suck at geography. I'm so proud of myself for knowing that.
Tom Brady played for Michigan, though, so I feel like we need to dedicate this whole episode to him.
Tom. You saved but didn't save a dog, but at least you didn't steal a dog either. Good job.
But yeah, so this, they put down a dog.
Yeah.
And because the dog had such bad kennel stress that, gosh, Megan, stop talking about Blackfish. This dog he had such bad kennel stress that he was intentionally injuring himself within the kennel.
Right. That's what kennel stress is.
Yes.
It was, imagine being put in a prison, but you don't speak the language. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how long you're going to be there. Other prisoners are screaming or fighting or, whatever. That's what a shelter is like.
Yep.
And some dogs go in there and they're like, oh, they put me in a little room and I'm just going to sit here and I'm a happy-go-lucky dog and that's it. Other dogs go into a full panic.
Yep.
They don't know how long they're going to be there. They don't know what's going on. Where's my family?
Yep.
Maybe even my family kicked me out of the car and drove off. What in the world is happening right now?
Yeah.
So they panic and they will start smacking themselves against the side of the kennel. They will
which is what the blackfish whales did.
Yes. And they will turn in circles and you just see them going crazy in their little cell.
Yeah. Yeah. So this happened. And so the quality of life, obviously this dog wasn't getting adopted. This was happening. So, and the shelter made the tough decision to put down this dog.
Yeah.
And they received death threats. Now, people ignored the fact that before they euthanized him, they took this dog to the beach. They fed him cheeseburgers and birthday cake before being euthanized. And, I found this, I was on Facebook just kind of looking for different talking points about this. And I loved this woman. Actually, I don't know if it was a woman, but this person with Dogwood Animal Rescue, and they're in Sonoma County, California. And this is what they had to say about euthanasia. They said, if a madman with an axe beats a dog to death, that's killing. If some poor, compassionate, overworked shelter tech gives an unwanted animal a gentle overdose of anesthesia that they don't wake up from, that is humane euthanasia. It's a gentle death, a sad waste of life, but still a gentle death and better than the alternative. And so truly, the only way to reduce euthanasia is controlling the animal overpopulation. Right. You don't do that by just
So I think we need to talk about what happens with no kill sometimes.
Yes.
What its intention is.
Did you see me like totally lose my train of thought in the middle of
well,
that, by the way? I just became like...
So the intention around no kill is that you build programs that, you know, traditionally shelter was, you see a stray dog comes in, it sits there. People might come in to adopt and people might not. And that's how a lot of our rural shelters are still run. It's just that you have a shelter. And even people in these rural settings will know that their dog ran off and they'll go looking around the neighborhood. They'll ask the neighbors, they'll post on social media. They will forget to call or stop by the local shelter and say, do you happen to have a sneaky dog that got out? Yeah, okay. So people forget about shelters. They really do. So that's the traditional shelter flow of things. What no kill is supposed to look like is having programs around these shelters to help facilitate no kill. So volunteers who foster, volunteers who come into the shelter to take photos, build profiles, having rescues to pull from the shelters, doing a spay neuter to make the dogs more, first of all, to stop having more dogs in your community, you know. And here in Tennessee, legally, any shelter or rescue that adopts out an animal is responsible for making sure that pet is spayed or neutered within 30 days.
And that doesn't, like,
it's not enforced.
It's not enforced. And I have heard about sometimes an animal entering a shelter, either brought in because it was roaming or whatever, but it's brought in and it came into the shelter's care and it was released before being fixed. And I think that is also, as no kill, I feel like that's part of...
It's going
I think they're supposed to, though. I think you're supposed to when the animal comes in, and I don't know. Someone can
not
challenge
all
me on that.
Shelters have a vet on site.
That's true.
Not all shelters have a partner. Not all counties have a shelter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So how do you achieve that?
True.
Right?
That's a really good point.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you do have a shelter, the idea is to get the dogs spayed or neutered before adoption. Doesn't always happen. Even for shelters that do have, they might not have a vet on site, but they have a vet partner.
Yeah.
Still doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Even shelters that have an on-site vet, I've seen it myself, where somebody was allowed to leave with their dog and they said, hey, your dog's not fixed. And he said, well, I want to breed the dog. I was standing right there and I asked the person who worked at the shelter, I'm not going to name the shelter. And I said, I'm sorry, I thought it was legally required. And she says, after the first time, I went back and read that law, and that law does not say that there's a first or second or third time given. The law says that if a dog is returned or adopted from a rescue or a shelter, they are to be fixed within 30 days.
And I wonder, though, I wonder how quickly that dog the owner came looking for that dog. Because does that have anything to do with it?
No, I don't think it was same day, but it doesn't even matter. I get it. The way the law reads is if you're releasing a dog, it's supposed to be fixed.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I can pull up. I have it somewhere in my notes. Yeah. But I can pull up.
No, but you're right. It's a conjunctive effort.
I've seen puppies where somebody found puppies and called the local rural shelter and said, hey, I found these 3 puppies, need help. They were to bring the puppies in, but they said, but I want to keep this one. Okay. They kept that one. 6 months later, that dog is also surrendered to the shelter because she was pregnant.
Wow.
Because she was pregnant and they didn't want to deal with a pregnant dog. Okay. So that's what the shelters are already fighting an uphill battle. And then when they don't dot the I's and cross the T's, or is it the other way?
They're in their own way. That's what drives. Oh my Lord.
But this is where no kill comes in. No kill is supposed to be another layer of support for the shelters. Rescues to pull and help, spay neuter programs, volunteers fostering and coming into the shelter to also help out, behavioral programs at times, things like that.
Right.
I know rural shelters who beg and beg and beg. They have Facebook pages of volunteers, and the people will show up for adoption events, but otherwise it's crickets. And they'll beg. The shelter will beg. They do get donations from volunteers and whatnot, but they will beg for people to come and take photos, walk dogs.
Yeah.
Post this dog on your Facebook because your house might have 3 or 4 dogs you can't have anymore. You're at capacity for your household, but maybe your friend wants a dog, and shelters are forgotten, so but people just don't do it.
And if they don't have, I mean, if you're talking about the shelters with such limited resources, if they don't have the resources to dedicate to like the spay and neuter component of it,
right,
then they shouldn't even, and this is and again, there should be no like negative perception of this, but they should not be given a designation for no kill. In my opinion, and we'll circle back because at the end, I would love to just kind of at the end of this conclude what my opinion is about all of this, and we can share those. But yeah, because I guess there's a really common question that has appeared when I've kind of dived a word? Dove. Okay. When I dove into this, can you have open intake and be no kill? And so just so everyone knows, like open intake, it means a shelter can't turn away an animal if they come in, right? Is that what open intake is?
We don't ever close our doors.
Right. So can those things coexist? Can you be no kill and can you have open intake?
If you have these programs, if I have a call log and I say, hey, I'm a 20 capacity shelter.
Right.
And I just had 5 dogs come in. I'm calling the top 5 fosters on my foster list and saying, we just had 5 dogs come in. I'm going to hang on to those and get them vetted and everything. Can you take 5 of our oldest residents, give them a break from the shelter, get them out of here, get them potty trained? Because in a shelter, dogs don't potty train because they're in a kennel, things like that. If I were a shelter and I had those resources, sure, I can be open intake and I can be no kill.
Right.
But the reality is, the rural shelters I know of, even the ones that have a volunteer group, I can't foster because I already have my own dog. I have a kid.
So they have to turn away animals.
So they have to turn away, or like this one shelter that I work, they are constantly at double capacity.
Yeah.
And what they do is they use their play yard to house some of the dogs, which I respect. I know it's hot out there. They do have coverage. Water and food is aplenty. And they'll rotate dogs in and out and this and that. They do what they have to do. They hustle. I know of rescues out of state that we had a dog from a rescue had to temporarily go there, being dropped off from a foster and picked up just a few hours later from another foster. But we were afraid because they were already at capacity. We were afraid that this dog would come in. They were at capacity. We're going to put the dog down. And they were wonderful. I'd have to look up which rescue or which shelter they were because, man, if I had 10 arms, I would love to support that shelter. They were so over capacity that they did not want to put the dogs down. They had dogs in crates. So your kennels are full. Yeah. And then they would do the crate and rotate. Like these dogs can go out and play and this and that. And that. Just fighting not to put these dogs down.
Yeah. Well, and so they can't. So yes, like those, you can be an open take and have be no kill. And I'm using air quotes not if for those who just listening, but in a perfect world. Right. Yes. Can those things exist? Yes, but only if all these other things are in place. Right. So there is actually where I used to live, the North Shore Animal League is the world's largest no-kill shelter. Okay. And they've even acknowledged that their no-kill policy limits the number of pets they can accept based on available space. And I was, I make fun of PETA a lot. I'm not going to lie. And I think it's just because when I was younger.
They're easy to pick on.
They were so radical. Oh, my Lord. It's just the amount of videos that I saw of like animals being slaughtered. I was like, wow, you guys are going hard. Yeah. I think, but I respect a lot lot of what they do.
While you're eating chicken wings, did you see that commercial?
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, this fried chicken's great. But I respect a lot of what they do. Maybe don't love always the way they do it, but regardless, they're doing a lot of really good things. Yeah. And they put together this compilation video where it's 8 minutes of people bringing their pets into shelters and getting denied, and that we don't have room. We're no kill, so we don't have room. I mean, it was just, and it was just incredible. And so you start to associate the two, right?
Yeah.
Which is why that intake question kind of pops up.
Yeah. So that kind of goes into, no kill, and there's this other thing called HASS, HASS, and I don't remember what HASS stands for.
Okay.
But again, Human Animal Support Services.
Oh, okay.
All right. So they kind of go hand in hand. I would say HASS could be a component of no kill.
Yeah.
So what HASS is doing is saying, I'm going to give more support to the community. So in other words, you're going to have to give up your pet because you can't afford to feed it.
Yep.
No. Keep your pet. I'm going to open a food bank.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
So now you can keep your pet.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't have to bring it in shelter. Or having a really good lost pet reunification program.
Yep.
So maybe you even do free microchips because you're in a county that really lets people tend to let their dogs roam.
Yeah.
Or you're out in the country and dogs, hop the fence and da-da-da. So you have that. Supported self-rehoming. So maybe as a shelter, we will list a dog for you if you really have to rehome your dog. Don't surrender it to the shelter. You hang on to it. You're gonna move in a month or two.
But we're going to support you so that you don't have to do that. And you literally just summed it up. Like, we don't have enough of that, which is part of the reason why us, Lost Saving Paws, I think feel so passionately about the advocacy work we're doing is because it's like you have to have this in order to have that. Right.
Or like temp fostering. I have to have a surgery. I can't walk my dog for 3 months. Do you have a foster that can instead of me surrendering my dog forever, or potentially having it euthanized, do you have a foster that can watch my dog for 3 months until I get back on my feet?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So HASS could be a component of the no-kill. The problem with the no-kill is that when we don't have these supplemental programs, when we don't have this community engagement and support, again, I'm not blaming the shelter. This really has to come from the community.
Yeah.
When you don't have those things and you say, we're full fire code here, we cannot accept any dogs, that means that when you say no to that owner who needs to surrender, what do? They drive up the street and they kick the dog out of the car sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes.
Or they bring it gets transported to another shelter. It becomes someone else's problem.
Right.
Like you said, it ends up in a situation that's not better for it.
Or you leave stray dogs out on the street that could potentially become aggressive.
Yep.
Or they're not fixed.
Yep.
And they're breeding more dogs. Or they're not fixed and the dog that just got kicked out of its family car is not fixed. And now we're breeding more dogs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's like the best meet cute. What's that thing? What do they call it when two people meet each other? It's called like a meet cute or something. No. Wow. I feel
a rom-com?
No. It's like, anyways, but what you just described, I'm like, oh, that's like a canine, like, meet cute.
Oh, okay. I've never.
Now I just feel silly.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I think maybe I should start watching different television or something. But
yeah,
so anyways.
Football is coming, so you can watch football. So.
Well, I know. Yay! But in all those things, it's just what we are looking at and what a lot of people are beginning to look at are like what happens to the animals that are being turned away in order to sustain a no-kill designation. And so my whole problem with this, personally, it's like we talked about recently with the AKC and just two things coexisting. Like just it doesn't mean something has to stop entirely, but the fact that like there is so much negativity and so many questions surrounding this. Like, why isn't Best Friends Society, who is now kind of coined, they have, like, whether they like it or not, they've kind of owned the no-kill stuff because they're behind it so much.
Yes.
Why aren't they why, like, look at the culture, look at what's happening and say, oh, maybe we should pivot.
We need to redefine the rule.
Yes.
Because when we're closing those doors, you're blowing up the community.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of critics of the Memphis shelter are saying is that you are not enforcing the rules. You are not picking up the stray dogs. And it is just ballooning this stray population situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of criticism. And, you know, to me, it needs another truth campaign. It needs another education where we can do this, but the we has to be all of us. It has to be the community. Why aren't there laws against breeding, for example, the common breeds that we see in the shelter? Why aren't there laws against breeding non-breed specific, like mutts? Why are we breeding mutts when we have enough mutts?
Right. Why are we? Oh, that's a great question.
Yes. It's people don't know better. And I don't know why people would rather go to Joe Schmo that they don't know versus a shelter where they have already vetted the dog and fixed the dog for you. We talked about that a few episodes back, but again, the no-kill needs some help because just saying no-kill is not enough. Shutting that door, leaving the strays on the street. There's lawsuits out there now because there have been a few accidents where I shouldn't say accident, there have been a few incidents where dogs were on the street and they became aggressive. People are calling and the shelter says, we're closed for intake.
We're closed for intake and we can't take it because we need to keep this plaque on our wall that says we're no kill.
Right. And what ends up happening is a dog is, or a person is mauled or attacked.
Yeah.
Or there was a story that we read where the people couldn't get out of their car.
Yeah.
So
it was,
yeah.
And,
oh yes, it wasn't.
I mean, I feel like when in doubt.
Yeah. Oh gosh. But yeah, it's creating when the community is. I don't know. When the community is not involved, it creates community problems.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay, fine. You don't.
And I think the perception, like, it is not realistic for like a handful of people to spread this awareness. Like, I feel like the people who are fueling no kill, and I'm saying like I'm saying best friends need to, again, take accountability, take stock of the situation and react to it rather than continue to give these designations. And then when this is where I tried to look for, okay, where's the money? Where's the money running through us?
I don't know that Best Friends gives any funding for
they have
shelters.
Spay and neuter. I don't think they get funding. It looks like it said on their website that they had like some spay and neuter programs throughout the country, blah, blah, blah. But it's very high. Like all the stuff that they talk about doing within communities to support no kills, like very high level.
Yeah.
But honestly, like maybe Rachel Ray should look into this before like freaking touting it all over her
I didn't realize
show. She's a big they have and
kill
and it's just again it's you don't know what you don't know, but it's like people know, just know. Try to know.
Educate. If you're going to get behind a movement or a cause, whether that's animals or whether that's responsible eating or responsible consumerism, do your research. And this is definitely one of those situations. Even if I'm going to go back to, even if you're not an animal lover, advocate, owner, this affects you because the taxes that you're paying are also paying to manage these shelters that whether or not they're kill or no kill are you're paying for all that intake and you're paying for that ballooning ecosystem of dogs in the community that then later on has to be dealt with.
Right. Or like recently I saw there was a pup in my county who it sounds like it was brought into the shelter because it sounds like it had been hit by a car and it didn't make it. And I'm just like, how many times does this have to happen? And it's so sad. And then I did think about, okay, well, if I'm not a pet lover, but I'm like, oh, well, what are those doing to my insurance rates if this is happening? And I thought, what happened to the person who hit this animal? And you know what I mean?
That is so foster a dog to keep your insurance rates low and your incident rates low. And foster help be part of the solution, help us get these dog numbers down. That's all it takes and you don't have to foster forever. Foster for a little while. If you're a teacher who's off for the summer and you don't usually have a dog because you work long hours at whatever school,
give the dog to Candy. She loves fostering. Yeah. She only has like 18 dogs.
I cannot have any more dogs. I have been put on a no dog list.
Wait.
Not no dogs.
Blacklisted.
I'm blacklisted. I'm getting a puppy on Friday.
What?
Yeah.
Does your husband know?
We talked about there's this dog that needs we talked about it. She's really cute.
Sure.
But
is there a not cute puppy? Well, probably. I'm sure. Like there are babies that aren't cute. I'm sure there's.
I fostered a lab puppy one time that was working my last nerve and did work my last nerve like right before its adopter came and picked it up. So yeah, I don't think that one was cute. But anyway, so okay, let's get back on topic. We're on a tangent.
I don't even remember. Can I just quote something like
sure.
So we have when we posted this on we posted something. There's this animal advocate named Ed Box, and he lives in California, and I think he has been politically involved. He's very heavily involved in animal welfare. I think he's worked as animal control. Like he uncovers like so much of this stuff.
Right.
And it's just really interesting to read some of his stuff. But anyways, I had we had shared an article of his on our social media page, Lost Saving Paws, and there was a comment from, I think it was called the Silver Comet Animal Welfare Alliance, and some of what she said, and this is what I loved what she said, because she said, while Best Friends may not be the most well-known promoter, that organization certainly didn't invent the concept. Yes, some have misrepresented the concept, and there should be some accountability, but the no-kill movement as a whole should not be blamed or abandoned, which we agree with. Again, it's like we're not saying it has to be one or the other, but like, can we just stop for a second?
Well, and I don't think just because Best Friends promotes a good practice that they should also be responsible for. I'm struggling with that too.
They are the ones handing out the plaques.
I don't think so.
They're not?
There's no plaque that is at.
Oh, really?
No.
Who's making the plaques?
They can put it on, you can put it on your website or things like that, but I don't know that there's any plaque. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, there are. You haven't been to shelters and seen the plaques?
I know that some of the shelters.
They take a picture of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they making their own plaques? Or?
No, they all look the same.
Yeah, the shelter that I work with, 1 year was no kill. Their calculation was no kill.
Okay.
But there's no plaque that they put up.
Okay, I'm gonna pull a Candy.
Yeah, do it. Google.
On demand Google search right now.
Or Bing, whatever.
Or Bing. Oh, I'm a Google girl. You know what? I Google plaque and I get like all this dentist stuff. Maybe I spelled plaque wrong. I don't know. No, shelters definitely have plaques. Listen, I'm gonna find it. Or someone, you know what? If you're listening to this and you can either confirm or deny this, please tell us. My shelter took a picture. Williamson County took a picture. It's hung on the wall.
They can, or you can just say, "Hey, we meet the calculation." Nope.
Oh, I'm so curious about this now.
Yeah, I know. I was confused. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
No, like physically.
There are.
Yes.
So, but here's the thing. So I see I did a little searching. Okay. We are a no-kill shelter 2022 Maricopa County Animal Care and Control.
Is that what it says? That's what the actual thing
says.
But
I wonder, if we were to do a study, and I go back to Maricopa, is Best Friends giving a plaque to every no-kill shelter, or only those who are responsibly no-kill? I don't know. It's a good. I think it's a good question. I mean,
so who's giving it? How do they? Well, and I feel like if your name is ending up on, I'm pretty sure Best Friends manages the on their website. They have a list of no-kill shelters, so they are managing that list, which leads me to believe that they're responsible for.
So, is that list only of open intake only shelters?
No, I think it's everything. That's my issue. I think it's any shelter. And that's my gripe with this, is that you hear the murmurs of shelters turning things away, turning animals away, and you continue to do this. So I don't know. Oh, we just created another episode.
That's why we're here. And if you want to sponsor more information,
I mean, yay.
If you want to sponsor.
We just literally had the same reaction where we like scoffed and said yeah at the same time. We're spending way too much time together.
Yes, we are.
That was scary. The best friends, they grant it. Oh my gosh. Literally. Okay, wait, time out. The Best Friends Animal Society granted the Caldwell County Animal Shelter a no-kill plaque for saving pets from being put down. That is from 2025.
Okay.
They're holding the plaque. All right, you guys can't see this if you're listening or even if you're watching because I'm staring at it. But these two people are literally holding a plaque.
Right. So I'm seeing the plaque too. When I Googled, I
saw where's the disconnect?
So my question
here?
is, are they giving the plaque to any shelter who is saying they're no kill, or are they verifying that I
think it's based just on numbers. It's literally based on that save rate. To my understanding, it is based on that. They're not saying how many programs do you have for spay and neuter? What's the level of education for spay and neuter? Like what's your surrender? Like I think it is numbers. How many animals did you save versus putting down? That is my understanding. That is limited to that's how they assess the plaque.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Yeah. So what do you think?
I'm trying to steadfastly Google and see. I know they do have this. They do have a directory on their website where you can see whether a shelter is kill, no kill, or nearly no kill is what they call the third category. But
wait, there's a nearly no kill?
Nearly no kill.
Oh my gosh. Can we all right, and I will just say this. If you know of a shelter that is not no kill, you should still support them.
Right.
Because the way that our animal crisis is right now, like it is impossible it's nearly impossible to maintain that without doing so many other things that are damaging animals, like the lives of animals.
Right.
You know what I mean? For every dog that they can't take in, just think about where that's going. So that's what scares me. What are the measures that shelters are doing to maintain that status? And because that status has so much value, the public perception of that status is so valued, it's like gold. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think you need to change the perception of that personally.
Ultimately, you have to look at who you're trying to impact, and ultimately it's the dog being impacted.
Yes.
So go in there and save the dog.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the program. It doesn't matter this.
No.
Just go
Amen, Candy.
save the dog.
Yeah.
Just not, and not just maybe one dog. If you have the decision between, like me, I don't know that I ever intend to own a dog myself ever again. For the rest of my life, I intend to foster.
Yeah.
So if it's up to me whether to own a dog and just have a dog and that's it, or be able to get dogs vetted and potty trained and you know other little trainings.
We need more of that because the more people that we have like reacting to the population, the less people we have focusing on reducing it.
Yeah.
So if you're like for some reason a country music singer that is listening to this somehow and you're thinking about giving a certain amount of money to one of those,
or
can we just split it? Like put some of those efforts to spay and neuter, put some of it to the shelter. Like put money into the prevention of it.
We need a revival song to help these
I know.
dogs. So
yeah, wow, that was I caught what you were putting down.
Yeah,
I picked up what you were putting down there.
So
cool. Well, I think that's good. That was some good education. It's been like I've learned a lot. If I'm being honest about this whole thing.
Right.
So yeah, but so we just want to remind you, you can follow us on social media. We rely on listener support, listener funding to have this show.
And like we said earlier, we'd love to have your engagement too.
Yes.
Send us your story, send us your questions. If we said something that you'd like to correct or adjust or your experience, we would love to see that as well.
Yeah. So. Or if, and I'm going to go out on a limb a little too and say like, because what we do for Law Saving Paws, like if you're if you're in a community that could use some extra support, like we can't give you money. I'm just going to say that.
Right,
but
right.
we can try to get some boots on the ground or give you some educational materials or again, provide a supplement to what you're doing.
Or maybe we research.
Yeah.
On your behalf, or reach out to the network and get some answers on whatever topic that comes up.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So, just money. We can't give you money. Just gotta throw that out there.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Candy. This has been good.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us, and please share our podcast. Click boop the follow button.
What does that mean?
Like a boop, like for a dog. You know when you boop their nose. You've never heard of this?
No, I just think of the movie Superbad when I hear boop. Do you ever with Michael Cera and Jonah Hill? No.
Nope. I have no idea.
A wasted reference.
Just
fine.
Boop that follow button.
Great. Yeah. Until next time, guys.
See ya.
All right.